Welcome. This is Back to the Bins. I'm your host, Mr. B. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you've been here before, thanks so much for coming back, and if you're new here, thanks so much for stopping by. This is a comic book collecting channel, and I'm a comic collector. These Sunday videos are intended to showcase the books I picked up this past week at my local comic shop. I've got a pull list, so I'm pretty familiar with what's happening in comics today. I love digging through the dollar bins, and I love digging through the back issue bins. So, if that sounds interesting to you, and you'd like to join me on my journey back to the bins, why don't you take a look over here, and I'll show you what I picked up. Alright, and like I said, these are the books I picked up this past week at my local comic shop, 204 Comics in Winnipeg, and as per usual, we start in alphabetical order, and that takes us straight to Marvel Comics and the Amazing Spider-Man. This is issue number 4, the Mark Chiarello variant. I'm collecting the first 5 issues. I've told you that before. We have one more to go. Really loving these covers. I've been seeing some good reviews on this particular run. Not as favorable as Ultimate Spider-Man, but, I think this is starting off fairly well. Maybe not as good as people had hoped, but here we are. I'm going to read those 5 issues when I've got all 5 and make a further decision as to whether or not I'm going to invest in Spider-Man again, or wait until another run begins, or just keep with Ultimate Spider-Man. Who knows? But a very cool cover. I love that a lot. Here we've got, I guess, in the Archie section of your local comic shop. I call it independent once in a while, but I think it's definitely its own genre. Here we have Archie as Mr. Justice, issue number 4, the Matt Talbot variant. This is the final issue, folks. I have somewhat enjoyed this series. I've more enjoyed the homage covers that Talbot has delivered. This, of course, The Killing Joke, and this is an iconic cover in comicdom. And here we are with, I think it's Reggie doing this, as the camera does say Reg, I'm going to assume. We've got a bit of an inference there, but very cool cover. Have loved all of these covers, and we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be favorable in the end. Maybe it will be better than mediocre. Who knows? Over to DC now. Here we have Batman, Superman, World's Finest, issue number 39. This is the Adrian Gutierrez variant. Just collecting this to issue 50 for the covers. Just love this run. It's iconic, and for me, these covers speak volumes about the characters and the institution that is World's Finest. So I was just doing something for fun, for the hobby, and as a cover collector. Very cool. Oh yeah, here's something I get not just for the covers, but for the amazing artwork inside, as well as story. This is Batman and Robin Year 1, number 7. The Chris Samnee A cover. Absolutely love Chris Samnee's work. And in looking further into what people were saying when they were looking at this cover on League of Comic Geeks, yeah, the Bat logo has been sort of made through all of these photos and everything else. I thought that was just ingenious. I don't know if I would have caught that without other people saying. And as a huge cover collector and lover of all of this artwork, that was lost on me. I did not see the deeper meaning there. So absolutely fantastic. Love Chris Samnee, and this is such a fun book. So fun, in fact, that when there's a great variant cover, I have to grab it, and I thought this was cool. It has this sort of action feel, very up-close look at Batman and Robin. Again, this is Year 1, issue number 7. This cover by Javier Rodriguez, and I just really like this. Very cool. I like that Robin's got his hand or his arm in his cape, I guess maybe to prevent it from getting all flustered as they're coming down. And I love the bullets whizzing by, missing them. Must be stormtroopers taking their shot. Very cool. Love that. This is something kind of cool. I've been showing you this. This is also a final issue, folks. This is Daredevil Unleash Hell, issue number 5. The Philip Tan variant. I promised that I would consider doing an unbagging of all of these, as I was told in the comments that these comics, they don't hold up well if you keep them in the poly bags, and so I want to take good care of these books. The covers underneath are fantastic. I'll figure out a way of incorporating the red band in my boarding and bagging of these comics, but I think I'm going to do an unbagging short in the upcoming weeks, maybe even this Tuesday, sorry. Tuesdays, 10:15 Central Standard Time is when we release the shorts. So might do that on this one. Hopefully Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that. I know I am, and we will do it at some point. Back over to DC for absolute more amazing cover art as well as iconic titles. This is Detective Comics, issue 1097. This is the Aaron Campbell variant. Collecting this to issue 1100, it's going to be iconic. I've already got the cover that I want pulled as it came out on the FOC probably a week ago now. But yeah, I really love this. I love this style of Batman. It's very cool. Not exactly Gabriel Del Auto, but that style of realism that I really like about covers. I like seeing Batman in this sort of 40s style suit, if you will. Very cool. I love that. Love all that red. Very neat. Okay, don't get too excited, folks. I know this looks fantastic. Yes, it looks fantastic. This is issue number 48. Of course, this is the 2025 Facsimile, but this issue was originally released in December of 1965. We've got a Jack Kirby cover. We got Stan Lee writing. This is the first appearance of Silver Surfer and Galactus, and of course, we're seeing this because of all of the Galactus hype, the Fantastic Four hype. This is iconic cover, and I love, once again, that Marvel is doing this for us. I'm never going to have this in its original form. Great to have it in some form, and it's just beautiful. I was over at the LCS, figured I'd dig through the back issue bins just a little bit. It's been a while. So from the back issue bins, here we've got a nice 90s foil. This is Fantastic Four, issue number 398 from February of 1995. That's the Paul Ryan foil variant. Love that. We got the Watcher there. We also had the Watcher on issue number 48. So the Watcher, I guess, maybe a bit of a theme this week. I love that. Super cool. Been trying to collect issues 200 to 400 of the Volume 1 of Fantastic Four. So this helps me bookend it. About a week ago, I saw in the LCS issue 400, which was also a foil cover, and I didn't grab it. I should have, because it was gone this week. So instead, I grabbed issue number 399. So we're getting close. We're getting close. This is from April of 1995. Once again, the Paul Ryan foil. We got Reed and Sue, looks like battling each other in the negative zone while the Watcher watches and probably chuckles. Very cool. Love that 90s stuff. Love the foil goodness. And in keeping with the first family of Marvel, here we have from this week's polls, we got Fantastic Four, issue number 32. This is the Joshua Cassara A cover. Always get the A cover for this run of Fantastic Four. Absolutely love this. Ryan North, of course, is doing amazing work. Soon we're getting a reboot again. We're going to go back to issue 1. But Ryan North is sticking with it, so I think we're all going to have to stick with it because we know how fantastic this has been. Of course, there was always room for a variant cover, and I couldn't say no to this. We have the Alex Ross Timeless Ant-Man variant. I think it was a couple of years back where there were more of these timeless villains were released, and I was super happy to get this old school looking Ant-Man. Absolutely awesome. Virgin variant, super cool. And what better way than to also get this one as well, strictly for the cover. This is Iron Man issue number 8, the Alex Ross Timeless Wasp variant. A cover by, had to go with the Ant-Man. This is a perfect pairing, of course, you know that, and I thought it was perfect. I love that they were side by side in the showing today. I love it. Alex Ross, fantastic artist, as you can tell, and these old school looks are just brilliant. Here we got everybody's favorite, Mark Spears. I kid, I know it's divisive, but this is Mark Spears' Monsters issue number 1. This is the 5th printing, the Horror of Dracula variant. I love that. The night belongs to the dead. Love this classic Dracula look. Everything about it is great. It's got that worn out, pulpy kind of book thing going on. Keen Spot and Mark Spears are just knocking it out of the park with all of the covers they've been doing for this series. I love it. I'm not reading it. I'm just getting it for the Mark Spears variants because I love the monsters. I love the way he draws. Wonderful. All right, and once again, just for the cover and potential for cover of the year, folks, here we have The New Gods, issue number 6, Sebastian Fiumara variant. He's one of my favorite artists. I'm so glad I've gotten wise to his work. This is a standout. You know I love Big Barda. I love this idea. This looks so old and dated, but yet, it makes sense. But the artistry of Fiumara is fantastic. The outfits of these new gods is great. The way Barda looks is fantastic. I gotta give it to Sebastian Fiumara for capturing this essence of these new gods, and that is why it's a contender for cover of the year. So cool. Oh yeah, I love this too. Saw this and said, I gotta get this. I love these two characters. Kind of a fun setup. Here we have Spider-Man and Wolverine, issue number 1, the Clayton Crane variant. This is my first Clayton Crane cover, and I gotta say, very cool. Kind of reminds me of the Marvel Masterpiece cards from back in the day. Very cool. I love it. I think I love Wolverine's claws. They're a little bit long. A lot of this. Spider-Man looks great. This is very cool. I'm looking forward to digging into this, and I'm very interested as to what happens in this book. But I couldn't say no to this as well. We got the variant cover here. This is the Mark Bagley variant. Classic image of Spidey and Wolverine. I love Wolverine's got his claws sunken into the wall. Spidey doing his thing. Now, I do also think it looks a little bit off. The things that I'm used to about Bagley's work is from the 90s Spider-Man, and I shouldn't be judging it based on that either. This does look a little crude still, but I love Bagley. I appreciate everything that he's done for the 90s and for Spider-Man, and I will always love his work, so that's why we had to get this. But there is something a little bit off about it. Proportionally, I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. Oh, yeah. Once again, cover of the year potential right here, folks. From DC, we have Superman Unlimited, issue number 1. Another Sebastian Fiumara variant. I mean, is this not the essence of Superman? Like, just standing there and being riddled by bullets and having no fear whatsoever. Iconic. How can this not be a contender for cover of the year, especially with Superman, the movie, coming out shortly? This is brilliant work. I love this. Looking forward to more Sebastian Fiumara stuff. I think it's just fantastic. Issue number 1 happening here, folks, from our good friend, The Thing, Ben Grimm. This is The Thing number 1. That's a Nick Bradshaw A cover. I couldn't say no to this. We love Ben Grimm, and he's just Kool-Aid Manning his way through a crowd of people. Going to cause some trouble, no doubt about it. I love this. Oh boy. Here's something that I'm going to say cover of the year potential. No doubt about it. Look at that. This is Thunderbolts Doomstrike, issue number 5, the Ivan Talavera variant. Oh boy. Black Widow has never looked better. I just love the sheen of the suit. Once again, it's like you can hear it squeaking. We got Doom in the background looking as badass as ever. And by the way people were talking about this issue in the overall series, Thunderbolts Doomstrike, this was not a comic to have missed, and unfortunately I did. But this cover, wow-wee. And we've got this one too. Perhaps a contender for cover of the year. It is absolutely gorgeous, but I know that there could be better still. This is Zatanna number 4, the Ben Oliver variant. Last issue that I read, issue number 3, was a little bit out there for me. Took me down a path I was a little confused. Ultimately, I was a little confused with the last issue. But I'm interested enough in Zatanna and what's going on that I want to keep reading. And I believe that this is a limited series, so it'll end eventually and I'll have it all figured out by the end, right? Let's hope so. But a beautiful cover. Love her look. Very fun. Well, that's everything, folks. So why don't we get back to the real world, shall we? Well, it's a great stack of books. Hopefully you enjoy what you saw, and if you did, why don't you like, comment, and subscribe? It really helps to build the channel, and I'd love to develop a community of people who just really love comics. Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll see you next week, and until then, remember, comics are good.